Obusiamo akwaba. Bididi kwa kuachre dako. Asante maira. Otufo osei tutua otosumino. Nana se. Yamaya asante semu hiyaye. Enunti sene abakosembi woho na wunimuwa. Odaroma. Mesre se ya son. Na ti sempaya. Ye ankasa yenu ya yao. Owode mameno. Adesua yen platform yi yebota nyina na say yebema ya Asante sema hia yen na yesua ya Asante abakosem mesre se bomodia na share na foforo so nya betie medawase.
Thank you.
All right. Can we pick up
But
those?
don't worry, don't be bothered if you see him with the camera.
Don't
He will
worry.
not frighten you.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you can pronounce a proper name of the Palace Museum.
Menchia Palace Museum.
Yeah, people when they look at it throws them off. Perfect.
Yes. So it's Menchia Palace Museum. This place was called Menchia because there was a forest, and this very place was where our kings, our ancestors, used to come and meet and think about the kingdom, take decisions for the advancement and establishment of the kingdom. So man means the whole kingdom has met here. Menchia means the whole kingdom always come to meet here. Good. Thank you very much. So my name is Yao, and I'll be your guide for this brief session. Actually, as you rightly said, the museum is under renovation. Good. As we all know, in a Asante traditional system, the day that you are born, automatically the traditional system gives you a name. Yes. Even before your parents name you. And these traditional names have meanings. They are more powerful than even the names that your parents might think to give you. Because these names come straight from the ancestors. I'm a Thursday born male, so I'm called Yao. So I'll start with you. Which day were you born?
Thursday.
So you are Ya, and then sometimes they're born on a Tuesday and Friday, and then Ama, Kofi, Yao. Okay. Ajwa Monday born, and then
Monday.
Ajwa and Saturday Kwame. You see, these names have meanings, as I said. For example, Saturday and Sunday borns, they are known to be givers of light. They shine, and they always want to come on top of anything they do. Monday and Tuesday borns are known to be suppressors of pain and sorrow. They are stronger enough to push away pain, and they bring comfort to you when you are in that situation. Because in our local parlance, when somebody is wailing or crying, we say the person ultra adjo and now say ultra bena. So when we say kwadjo kwabena, it means you are pushing away pain, you push away sorrow. Wednesday borns are known to be beautiful and powerful. That's one thing about them. Actually, Wednesday is a sacred day. Back in the olden days, if you are an Asante female and you can't give birth, our ancestors will make a doll, a traditional doll, and they will wrap it around your back. You walk around the doll for 42 days, which is 1 month, according to Asante calendar. Exactly after the 42nd day, you will conceive. Yeah. Thursday borns are known to be brave and very heroic, very, very brave. Brave enough that even the final and the last Asante British War was led by a Thursday born who was also a woman. Friday borns are also known to be beautiful and powerful. From the name Efia, we have Afin, which is on the wall. That is a Dinkra symbol on the wall, like a fork. It's not a fork, it's a comb, which is called Afin, which stands for beauty. Where we are is the headquarters of the Asante Kingdom. Actually, when we say Asante, it means because of war. That is war. That, yes, war. That is the meaning of Asante, because of war. Our ancestors established this kingdom because of war. Originally, our ancestors were not in Gold Coast. They were in a place called the Old Ghana Empire, in between Timbuktu, which is now Mali, and Gao, which is now Niger. And they moved from there to Mesopotamia. They spent some time with the Egyptians and with the Jews. So, when you look at the Asante culture, there is a little bit of Jewish culture and Egyptian culture. In Egypt, when the pharaohs die, they don't bury them. We do same. When kings in Asante land die, we don't dig the ground and put their bodies there. No, we embalm them and we take them to a royal mausoleum where we keep their bodies. And every dead body have a room. The same way, the Jews also have an ark that their high priests go around it 7 times. Asantes have same. We also have an ark. On Fridays is a sacred day. The Asante king believes that when he puts on a white cloth and he goes around the Asante ark 7 times, he is cleansing the sin of every Asante. That is one traditional belief that happens here. And when our ancestors migrated from the Egyptians and from the Jews, they came to settle at where we are now. Let's kindly open to page 18 of the book I gave you. Let me show you the 8 clans that established the Asante kingdom. Page 18. We have Oyoko. You can say it after me. Oyoko. Ekwana. Asene. Ediana, Asetui, Asona, Agona, and Bretu. Yes. You see, these are the 8 clans that we have in Asante land. And these 8 clans are the clans that established the Asante kingdom. They led our ancestors all the way from the Old Ghana Empire to where we are now. And every clan has a totem. So, we will know that Kwabena is from this clan based on the animal on top of his umbrella or on top of his staff. When kings are at a deba, there are always animals on top of the umbrellas or on top of their staff. If the king is from the Oyoko clan, the animal on top of his umbrella should be a hawk.
Hawk?
A hawk. If the king is from Bretu, the animal should be a leopard. So this totem is what identifies them from where they come from in Asante land.
Is it a hierarchy of order?
He said?
Hierarchy of order?
Yes, because it is the Oyokos that is the royal clan among the 8 clans. It is the Oyoko clan, that is where the Asante king and queen mother comes from. Now, when our ancestors came to settle here, instead of them to form a kingdom, they didn't. They were divided. Because of that, there was a kingdom which was already here in Gold Coast. Their name was called the Dintra Kingdom. They took our ancestors as slaves. A time came that the king of Dintra was demanding that our ancestors should cut this little finger of theirs and bring it to him. The second thing he was demanding was that our ancestors should bring him their favorite wives for him to marry. As part of our traditions and customs, if you are a king and your hand is cut off, you will be dethroned from the stool. So our ancestors were like, they are not going to do it. The first Asante king we got was called Osei Tutu the First. He sent a message to the king of Dintra that he's not going to cut his finger for him. Secondly, he is not going to bring his wife for him to marry. And that is how he said it. He said that Se Brebre Ama Amanie Emma. Brebre was the wife of that king, Dintra king. And Amania was the wife of Osei Tutu, our king. So Osei Tutu said that if in Tim Jakari, does not allow his wife Brebre to come, he won't allow his wife Amane to come.
Was he being defiant?
He said, was he being defiant? Like, it's a proverb now.
Yeah, like, I'm just not going to do it.
Yes, I'm not
gonna do
yes. So in Asante land, when somebody tell you that, say Brebre ama Amanema, it means that I'm just not going to do what you are saying, as he said. Can we all say it together? Say Brebre ama Amane Emma. That is a proverb in Asante land. Now this led to a war among the Asantes and their masters called the Dangerous. But our ancestors were not united. So then they came together with an idea that why don't we come together and form a kingdom so that we will be stronger enough to fight against the Dangerous. They came together, they formed the kingdom, and they named the kingdom Asante, which means because of war. We only came together because of war. And this was in 1695. That was when Asante Kingdom was established. Now they were all kings that came together to form the kingdom. That means that they should get a king among the kings who is called Asante. Let's open to the first page of the book. That is the current Asante. He is the king of kings in Asante land now. The first page 1. That is the current king there. Now this was how our ancestors chose king of kings or Asante in 1695 through the coming of the gold stool. Kindly open to page 16. Page 16. The gold stool is there. That is the stool on the throne. That is the stool there. Now this gold stool is the symbol of Asante unity. This gold stool is what shows an Asante king for us. Because of that, whenever somebody is chosen to become a king in Asante land, that king has to swear to the gold stool before he will be accepted as a king in Asante land. Nobody sits on the gold stool. The Asante king don't sit on the gold stool. The gold stool is the symbol of Asante unity. It carries the spirit of our ancestors. So much to the fact that even when the British were demanding for the gold stool, it led to a war between Asantes and the British. So when kings are chosen to become kings, you have to swear to the gold stool. And in our land, when kings are swearing to the gold stool, they hold a sword. And that sword is called Mpomponso. Can we say it? One more time. Page 8. Page 8. That sword is there. That sword is there. Right here in page 8. This is the Mpomponso sword. It's the sword that kings hold to swear to the gold stool before they will be accepted as kings in Asante land. Now when you are holding the Mpomponso sword, that is the first sword, and your hands begin to shake and your voice begin to break, it means that the gods don't endorse you as becoming a king in Asante land, and immediately you'll be disqualified. That is why in Asante land, when a king dies, it can take about 6 months, about 1 year before we can get a new king, because a lot are failing the test. In the 17th century, we got a second Asante king. When you open to page 17, you will see all kings and all queen mothers of Asante from 1695 to date, bottom up. The second king was called Upukwari I. Now, this king was regarded in the history of Asantes as the only king that extended Asante kingdom beyond the borders of Ghana. So Asante is not only in Ghana. Asante is beyond Ghana. He fought all the way to Burkina Faso and added the Mosi people to Asante land. He went to Ivory Coast and added the Baulis and the Anims to Asante land. Right here in Ghana, he fought to northern part of Ghana and added them to Asante land. As far as in the 18th century, some of our ancestors went to the Netherlands and they formed the Surinamese community there. Because King William was demanding for soldiers. There was a civil war in his kingdom in Netherlands. His nephew wanted his throne. Let's open to page 10. So our brothers and sisters in Suriname are also part of the Asante land. Now page 10. These are the guns of the Asante kings. And we got these guns from trading with the Dutch. So there was a great alliance between Asantes and the Dutch. So when their king was in trouble, he came all the way to Asante land demanding for soldiers. Our king that gave King William soldiers was called Kwekudua. When our ancestors helped him to win the war, his nephew lost the war and his nephew went to find Belgium. Our ancestors didn't come back. They stayed there and they are part of the Surinamese community. When you go to Suriname, they celebrate a festival called the Kweku Festival. They still do it. And they celebrate it to honor our king, Kwekudua the first. So all these people, diaspora, are part of Asante land. In the 18th century, 1824, this was when the British started giving problems to our ancestors. They said they would take our ancestors as slaves and add them to the Asante land, to the British colony. In the history of the British in Gold Coast, it is only Asantes they fought a lot with. 8 times of battle. We won 5, they won 3. From 1824 to 1901, these were years of battle between Asantes and the British. The first was in 1824. The British governor was called Sir Charles McCarthy. Our ancestors named that war Battle of the Dead. Our ancestors won the war, cut off the head of the British governor.
That's what I'm talking about.
And brought his head as a trophy to Asante land.
Yes, sweet.
His head was displayed for 42 days, which is 1 month. Yes, in Asante calendar. Because of this, the British never fought with us again till 1874. They came back so strong and defeated us. And as a result, they burnt down the first Asante palace, which was at Edum, where the military museum is. You see, when they burned down our palace, they built a military castle there, which has now also become a museum. Afterwards, they signed an agreement with our ancestors in 1874 that at the end of every month, our ancestors are to pay them an amount of gold. Now, this was a revenge on the part of the British because in 1826, we defeated them in Accra. And our ancestors took the keys of Christianborg Castle, which belonged to the British. And in 1826, all the way to 1874, the British were paying tax to the Asante land. So when they also defeated us, they said we should pay tax, which we were paying. Till we got an 18-year-old king. Let's open to page 12. The youngest ever to become a king in Asante land. Here he was old, but he was 18 years when he became king. Page 12. His name is Nana Prempeh the First. When he became king, the British came back to him, demanding that he should pay the gold because it is an agreement that has been made. Let's listen to the reply of our king. Our king told the British that he won't pay any money because it was not him that signed that agreement. It's his uncle, and his uncle is dead. So if the British want their money, he can help them get it. They should go to the cemetery. If they get to the cemetery, they should ask for the ghost of his dead uncle and take their money from the ghost of his dead uncle. The saying didn't go down well with the British, so they declared another war on our ancestors. Now our king said he won't fight, not because he was a coward, but because during his time as being a king, there was a civil war in the kingdom. His elder brother wanted the throne and it was given to him being the youngest. So the kingdom was divided. Some were for his elder brother, some were for him. So he thought it wise that if he is to go to war, he will lose. So he said he won't fight. Because of that, the British exiled him to Elmina Castle in Cape Coast. They later on took him to Sierra Leone and finally took our 18-year-old king to Seychelles Island. He spent 27 years in prison. In his absence, the British came back demanding for the gold stool, the stool I showed you. Now, how can we give something so precious to a foreigner? Because of this, the gods placed their spirit in a woman, and that woman single-handedly declared war on the British. And her name was Asantewaa. That is the Queen Mother with the gun on her laps in page 12. She was 65 years old when she declared war on the British. Now it seems to me that I'm diverting a little in the history of our African heritage. Among males and females, those that did a lot of damage to, let me say, the colonial masters were women.
Amen.
In our part, it's Asantewaa. Back in America was Harriet Tubman, which I believe you all know. And that is the main reason why in Asante land we don't take women lightly. We don't joke with them. Even the Asante royal throne belonged to the women, not the men. The Queen Mother can dethrone a king, but the king can never dethrone a Queen Mother, no matter what the Queen Mother do, because the throne belonged to the women. After the war, Asantewaa was defeated eventually. So Asantewaa brought an idea that it is the gold stool they want. So why don't we make a fake one and give it to them? Asantes made a fake golden stool and we gave it to the British.
A fake what?
A fake golden stool and we gave it to them. Recently they've returned it. It's at Prempeh II Museum in Cultural Center. After the war, Asantewaa was also exiled to Seychelles Island, but she died there after 15 years in prison. Yeah. Since the establishment of this kingdom, we've had 16 Asante kings and 14 Asante queen mothers. But there is the issue. When you see a king and a queen mother, it's not a husband and a wife. And it's not a father and a daughter. It is a brother and a sister, or a mother and a son. Because we practice matrilineal system of inheritance. Now let's start from all the way from the first page. Let me show you how the system has been. The first page is the current king, who is a brother to the queen mother, who is at the second page. So right now it's a brother and a sister ruling the kingdom. Now when we go to all the way to page 7, here is also a brother and a sister, Nana Prempeh II and Nana Amasewaa Nyaku. When we flip, here it is a mother and a son. A mother and a son. You see, we've not seen husband and wife, because that is not how it is done here. And finally, when we come to page 12, it is also a mother and a son. So this is how our system is like. The reason we do this is because we believe that the pure blood of every child comes from the mother and not from the father. In our Asante land, when you marry an Asante woman, the children are not yours. They belong to the woman and they belong to the family of the woman. That is why traditionally it is a responsibility of your brother to take care of your children more than his children. Yes. Because it is the children of your sister that is your pure blood, not your children.
Yeah.
That was how our sisters used to do. Now when I'm having a sister and I die, my properties don't go to my children. They go straight to my sister's children. That is how we do things here. We believe that when a man and a woman gives birth, the spirit of the child comes from the father, but the blood and the soul that make that child come from the mother. This even reflects in how we carry them in the palanquin. In the palanquin, we carry the Asante king on our shoulder, and we carry the Asante queen mother on our head, to show that the throne belongs to the women and not the men. I'm going to end on these two final things. We have 4 stools in Asante land. The first one is what I showed you in page 16, if we can go back there. That is the gold stool. Nobody sit on it. The second stool we have is called the white stool, or a sipim. Well, some is not in the book, but you see the stool that the king is sitting on. I think we can see. Okay, now page 16 there. Have you seen the stool that the gold stool is sitting on? That is the same stool that the king is sitting on. That stool is called the white stool, or a sipim. And we have the kotoko stool. Let's flip to the cover page of the book. You see the stool that the porcupine is on it. This stool. Yeah. The cover page, the porcupine. It's called kotoko stool. Kotoko is porcupine. Now, anytime we are going for war, we bring this stool out. So anytime you are an Asante man and you see that we've brought this stool out, it means there is war. You have to get yourself ready for war. If you play the coward and you run away, our ancestors will go for the war. When they come back, they will hit a sword in fire and they will stamp it on your forehead to make a mark there. Afterwards, you will tell all the beautiful Asante women that any Asante man you see having a mark on his forehead, don't marry him. He's a coward. Yeah. And when you are already married, we will take your wife and children away from you and we will give them to a brave Asante man.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how it should be.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. Apart from that, we have the black stool. Now, when the king is alive, he is having a white stool. But when the king dies, we blacken his white stool for it to become a black stool. For 42 days, we use the blood of a sheep, ashes, and eggs. We mix it together and we sprinkle it upon the white stool of the dead king for 42 days, which is 1 month. We believe that in the process of doing that, we are invoking the spirit of the dead king into his stool. Afterwards, we take it to the stools room. So the stools room is where we keep all the black stools of dead Asante kings. When we choose a new king, we blindfold him and we take him to the stools room to touch any of the black stools. The first black stool that his hand will touch, the name on that stool become his stool's name. For example, the first page, this current king. His original name is Kwekudia. He was born on a Wednesday. But when he was chosen to become a king and he was taken to the stool's room, his hand touched on the black stool of Osei-Tutu the first. That means that he will be called Osei-Tutu the second. That is how they get their stool's name. We have 4 drums. One is Otrema, which we play during war to prepare ourselves for war. 2 is a tumpan, which we play at the end of every month. So if you're an Asante and you hear that the tumpan is playing, it means the month has ended. 3 is Fronton From, which we play to entertain the king and to dance Adoa and Pete. Can you kindly stand up? Let me show you some moves.
Oh my.
All right. So when the drum is playing, you do this, you do this, you do this, and you do this, and you jump, and you do this, and you look down, and you do this. Now what she just did, doing this means that she is wrapping certain things up. And then she threw her hand to the left. It means everything at her left hand side and everything at her right hand side belongs to her. And she jumped and then came down and then she shook her hair. It means that nothing up there and nothing on earth was able to defeat her. Okay, so I won't show you the moves. I want you to do it and let's see. So you start by wrapping left first. Left first. Okay. Left. You wrap again, right, and then good, and you jump, and then you shake your head. You look down, and you shake your head. That is the spirit. That is the spirit. Everything in Asante land is for our spiritual well-being. Our dance, our language, our culture, our customs. Nothing is against us. All on the wall is known as Edinkra symbols. They are deep ways our ancestors used to communicate among themselves, without you, who is not an Asante, understanding what they are saying. So the first one there is a symbol of worship. When I talk about worship, it's worship of our gods. When we talk about gods, we are talking about three people. We are talking about the supreme being, we are talking about Mother Earth, and we are talking about our ancestors. We believe that when you lived a good life and you die, you are an ancestor, and you are a god. And such people, we want them to come back to us, and that is what we call reincarnation. So when I am a good person and I die and my family wants me back, they will make a mark on my body. When a family member within my family gives birth and it is me that have come back, where they made the mark could be at the place of the newborn child. It means I have come back. So when we are pouring libation, we pour it also in the name of our ancestors, because the life that they lived were more than gods. Thank you very much for visiting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Now, I have one question.
Okay, any question? Yeah.
Okay, I think it was page.
If you want to take any of these books as a souvenir to somebody, you can, right?